that's abortion. Status are already mentioned. These are the two key subjects in the bill that's making it hard to be passed. So
2023, but because of our collective engagement, especially with Chief Zanzan Kawa, who, brutally opposed the bill, was given the chance, we had to engage him through a bilateral meeting and to enhance his understanding on what the bill specifically, benefits women and the entirety of the Liberian people, across Liberia. And so eventually, by December 2023, he had already collaborated and worked with us to have an official statement, policy commitment that the National Traditional Council of Liberia is in full support of the passage of the bill. So that video, we had to capture that, get it on X or Twitter, get it on Facebook, get it on Instagram, and so that people can understand that we've already been able to, influence the decision of Chief Zanzan Kawa and some traditional actors. However, during the election, obviously, there were people whom we worked with who were in support of the passage of the draft of the bill. However, some of them did not get to their seat. Another new member of the House of Parliament came in, especially the chairperson, right? So it is very complex that they have to go back, sit in sitting room, scrutinize the bill, get away with their own perception, have maximum, engagement with them, and as well as champions can also work along with them to keyframe strategic message. So we've been with them, in different technical sections. We've never missed on some of those sections. We've had public, hearing. We went there and we've been able to present our case and some of the research findings from the African Population Health Research Centers, which actually informed their decision currently. For instance, a practical example would be Daba Vatele, who is the senator. Most often when she's presenting, on the current passage of the draft of the health bill, she referenced the findings, Liberia findings on maternal mortality, incidents report by the African Population Health Research Center. So that means that she's following the trend of conversation on research, analysis and conclusions. So she's been doing that. So the only critical period of our engagement and that of the status of the bill is that the Catholic Church seems to be very belligerent. They seem to be very aggressive. They don't seem to be buying in. But however it is, we have been able to, as activists, as champions, we've been able to incorporate some of those key religious people to inform them, converting them from opposition as allies. Because initially most of them were oppositions. But now, to be frank, some of them can come for our meetings and they can say, look, few years past, I was an opposition as a Catholic because we don't support, the bill, given that there is one component in the bill that talks about access to safe abortion. However, based on this engagement, we join SRHR champions across Liberia to ensure that we all rally around and advocate for the passage of the draft public health bill. Where it is currently, the bill is currently at the joint Senate Committee on Health. So that means the legislature and the senator, they're currently having deliberation. But because there is a break currently, in October when they come back, they'll be able to reopen flow for deliberation on the status of the public health bill. And we've been informed that the senator is considering to announce the first public hearing of the 55th House of Legislature. That means policy actors, SRHR champions will be invited to give their own understanding, their own perspective, scientific perspective, medical perspective on the importance of passing the draft of the health bill. And we've been able to also structure a technical working group incorporating members of the health practitioners from the Ministry of Health to join us to ensuring that when public hearing is ongoing, these very people can be at the central stage. Because mind you, we are policy actors, right? But technically or scientifically, they know what's up. They know their terms. They know their languages, right? We will keyframe those languages so that they can come at the center stage of conversation to tell the policy actors, this is why we want you to pass this bill, because it is important for X and Y reason. So that is where it is, and we're hoping that when the House resumes, we can be able to advocate for the passage of the draft of the bill. Thank you. So another president.
The issue of FGM.
FGM. And that's one part that have had the traditional leaders on their toes or a little bit indecisive of supporting the bill. So there's conversation around I don't want to say passage, but the development of additional bill that talks specifically about FGM. That's a conversation that has started, and we've had a couple of meetings, and we are starting to set up a working group around that as well, with some of the lawmakers that are part of the committee on health. And that's a new conversation we're about to have, because that's directly in line with the Maputo protocol that talks about the health and well-being of women, all of that. And because it's kind of blocking in the public health law, we believe that if it stays there, they will obviously remove it. Because that's conversation that they've had. That's some of the how should I say, the decision that's coming out of the committee room on health, because they are reviewing this bill currently, and these are some of the things that they want to omit from the bill. So that's one. The other part, that's abortion. Status I already mentioned, these are the two key subjects in the bill that's making it hard to be passed. So every time they go to deliberate, one of the lawmakers will agree this time around. When they go back, somebody else will come and say, my people have problem with the FGM in it. They think that it's against the traditions. So in order for the bill to be passed, they want to remove that. And we have been deliberating on this thing for almost 4 years. I mean, since 2021. It's a whole process that's inside. So they are getting to the point where they are going to omit the FGM. It's still a conversation. And then make an additional bill where they can carry on awareness that it's passed. Just wanted to add that.
Is that be cognizant of, right? So the new local government officials who were appointed, some not elected because the clan chiefs obviously they don't respect that. So they were, yeah, okay, oh, okay. So that means there's a transition in the entire local government structure. So this means, for instance, Chief Zanzan Kawa, whom we have engaged, is no longer the head. So this means SRHR champions need to go back, at a fundamental level to recreate and rebirth another strategic approach, key frame our messages, engage them consistently through bilateral meeting, give them the status of the bill, give them the importance of the bill so that we can buy them or influence them over as allies instead of opposition. So it will be important I will also meet the heir whom even me, I've only communicated with him once, but I'm hoping that we can be able to consistently have conversation with him after this meeting, whatever time we can be, to meet them, to buy them over, because they're major, stakeholders in the process of policy making process in Liberia. If you get them off, once someone, if they go to that public hearing, they will speak their vernacular, and when they speak, no one speak. So this means we have to be very sensitive to whom we approach and mobilize in terms of collective advocacy for the passage of the draft of the bill. So that's what I wanted to say.
But yeah, so increasingly that maybe we having do spend with go by, and that's part of the work we're doing in Liberia is the law passes. I think it should move into this category, either the orange or almost blue, because as it is now, the framing of the law is that it will allow, as long as a woman gives consent and by a trained provider, so that would allow for Liberia to be the first country this side of the world, to have a very progressive law, the concept. But the basic case that majority are here, red and light red, the whole of Africa. And that's why most women die here, actually. Most women die from pregnancies here. So pregnancy is riskiest in Africa because it kills majority of the women here. No woman dies in Europe because of pregnancy. When you look at the rates of maternal mortality in Europe, don't even think about the cause. It's like 1 in 1,000. If you look at Norway, it's 1 in 100,000 women dying. In the Netherlands, it's 7 in 100,000. But in Sierra Leone, it's in the 400s. In fact, it used to be 1,000. In Liberia, I don't know the figure right now. The last time I checked, could be in the 400s or 500s. Around that part, 100,000. So yeah, the laws are quite restrictive and not really advantageous at all. Okay, so that's the law in Liberia at the moment. We know that allowed up to 24 weeks by a physician, so a licensed physician must sign. The thing with this law is that it is impractical. And yesterday the Council for the Ministry of Health did demonstrate that the law that is now is impractical. So assuming they allow it for rape, okay? So when a woman is raped, then they can now have access to abortion. However, they require a physician to sign, and not just one physician, they should have two. Okay? Now, assuming this thing happens deep in the village, deep in the maybe somewhere in between Southeast A and Southeast B. And it's not only that the physician must sign, there are also other conditions. So, by the time this woman that has undergone a very severe ordeal gets to where they can access the service, so much damage is done. They are shamed because of the multiple letters, and the providers are also so afraid because there's a law there that will punish any physician that does this in contravention of the law. So, the law as it is, and it was heavily demonstrated here by the Ministry of Health, the Liberia Council, that it's impractical. It harms more than it protects. Okay? Yeah, so anyway, I can highlight these findings. I'll run very fast because you've seen them before. Our aim was to estimate the incidence of abortion, and in so doing, we partnered with the Ministry of Health, CHI, Gutemaka, and HRC. The main objective was to count the number of abortions and also check the severity, the complications. And because abortions are difficult to measure, we used a variety of methodologies, because you cannot count abortions by direct methods only. You have to combine both direct and indirect, So that's why we have many methods. So there was a health facility survey, there was an knowledgeable informant survey, there was a prospective mobility survey. I don't have to bore you with defining each of them, but the idea is that each of them has a particular target group, so that then we have a bigger picture. The reason why that happens, I always use this image, is that abortion is like an iceberg that is largely immersed in water. Okay? When an iceberg is in water, most often all you see is the top. So what you see at the top are what comes to the hospital. Those are the women with complications that actually walk into a hospital. So maybe the abortion happened somewhere in Congo, Congo Street, Congo town, and then the woman gets feels that there are complications, they're bleeding, there's pain, and so they walk to a clinic, There's so many clinics around that area, or they go to the biggest hospital. Those will be seen because there'll be a record of them. Okay. However, there's a huge majority of others who either they have complications as well. Okay, it can be the same Congo town, but they just decide not to go for any treatment. That happens a lot. If you had to know that happens, is that are there women who get pregnant and it can be their first pregnancy or second pregnancy, and they just stay for 9 months without going to the hospital. Does that happen? It happens, right? Yeah. And they even deliver at home in addition to that. Yeah. It happens a lot. Yeah, so there are this group of women who, even when they are bleeding, they have a lot of pain. They have an infection, okay? They will not go to the hospital. No records of them at the pharmacy, because pharmacists don't keep records. And so, if they don't have an abortion and they may survive, we don't have any data of them. Apart from that, there are also some who have those complications and die. Okay? In the house, in villages, or even when they come to the hospital, they are not recorded as abortions. Because they come in doing very sick, already having bled so much, so they are having hemorrhagic shock, and then so they come in a coma, so no history is taken, and they try to manage, investigate, probably the person, it will be recorded as, died on arrival, or cause unknown, or was bleeding in pregnancy, it was an abortion, but no one captures the country. Okay, but then there's another group who they have no complications at all, either because they use a fairly safe method, or that the method they used worked. Okay? So because of this nature of abortions, you cannot use one method to try and estimate the total number of cases. Okay, so what did we find? When we first of all checked how many women were treated for abortion related complications in Liberian hospitals, that's the figure we got. So the orange here is all the women who were treated for any abortion related complications, 14,555. Now, this is total post-abortion care cases in the hospitals actually. But of course some of them were referred, so someone went to a clinic, maybe in Nimba, and then the clinic referred the patient maybe to JFK, and so we meet again the woman there. So we were removing referrals because we don't want to double count, we don't want to count them twice. And then we also removed the color that looks like green, those that had spontaneous abortions or miscarriages, those that pregnancy just ended without the woman doing anything. And then finally, the blue are those that were complications treated in hospitals, but from induced abortion. Okay, so that's like a breakdown of all the cases we saw at the hospital. Those that were referred, we removed. Those that had miscarriages, we also removed because our idea, intention, was to check for abortions that are induced, where there was something the woman did or someone else did to interfere with the pregnancy. So those were 8,461 from 14,555. Of course, there were regional variations, so across North Central, Northwestern, South Central, Southeastern A, Southeastern B, the numbers vary. South Central are the highest. It does not mean that most abortions happen here, no. It just means that probably the population here is the biggest, okay? And we also know that most bigger facilities are here, so referrals to the city are much more compared to Southeastern A, B, even North Central, okay, or Northwestern. That's so 62% of all cases that were treated in hospitals were in South Central. Again, we also checked on patterns of referral, and most of these cases were referred patients into facilities in South Central. Now, when we are counted now for everything, including women that did not come to the hospital, then our total incidence of abortion, total cases of abortion was 38,779 in that year. And again, you see the variations by region, which is white. Northwestern was coming second, and then North Central before Southeast and B. So that's the total number of cases. Now, there's also this